Well, good morning, everyone. I am Erica Savage Wilson, and today is Wednesday, October the 7th. You are tuned into the number one morning political primer in the nation. That is the Savage Political Bite. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Facebook Live on the Facebook page of Erica Savage Wilson. You can also check it out on YouTube at the Savage Political Bite page or on Facebook at Savage Politics, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7:30 a.m. And so glad to see everyone that's coming on this morning. Good morning to you as well, Aunt Carla. And as you join, please say good morning so I can make sure to shout you out. What's up, Latrina? It's been a little minute. Very good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us from Arkansas. So we got Chicago in the house. We have Arkansas in the house. What's up? One of our favorite authors, that is Felicia Nicole, a fantastic educator. Good morning. It's so good to see you. We've missed you, girl. So glad that you are able to tune in and hope you have been well. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Um, it's been, hey, one of my favorite CEOs. What's up, Monica? Holding it down for the D. Very good to see you, sis. Thank you, everybody, for joining this morning. It has been an extraordinary week already. So if you are a bit exhausted from the news cycle, you are in good company with the bike gang because it's only going to be more of what we've kind of seen here lately of that. Because this is definitely election season, campaign season, so many different things happening. So that is kind of the warp speed that we're moving in right now, where the news cycle literally changes throughout the day. Want to send a special shout out to my parents. Y'all listen, they're the best. Thank you. I was going to say something, but thank you. Good morning, good morning, good morning to my two favorite people. That is my father and my mom. Love you both. So good to see you. Hello, Einstein. Danielle, always good to see you all, sis. And listen, if you all want to hear a great discussion around food insecurity and how it really impacts not just the person who's food insecure, but an entire community, families, the integration of all of it, I do have a link that I want to post to within the chat. I'm going to do that at the end of the segment. Danielle Johnson participated in that conversation along with Dr. Adams Cooper and another Dr. Melissa Davis. That was all moderated, facilitated by no one other than Dr. Wendy Wilson. So fantastic, fantastic discussion. I'm going to post that link. You can just listen to it at your leisure, but it is really profound. Danielle is a STEM expert and works in that field, manages a team. And to hear her talk about the intersection of how you bring the workforce to a much better place, fantastic to hear. So very proud of you, sis, as always. That's why I call my girl Einstein. I'll post that link. Good morning, Power Woman Sloan. It's always fantastic to see you. Chief, what's up, Chief McBride? Always fantastic to see you. Thank you, everybody. If I have not called your name yet, I definitely will go back and do that. So, always great to see everybody. I'm so glad you all joined. And I've been getting some really good feedback on these days of action. What we're doing, Savage Political Bite, because we are a very active community. For those who may be new to the Bike Gang, very active community, we are doing 30 days of action. And so you're since last Saturday have been getting, I promise you all, like a postcard size um, um, action action piece. And so what it does is it gives you not only something to do, but something to share with other people. And then it gives you like a history note. And so if you notice on the Bite newsletter, the background of that newsletter is featuring the person that I'm specifically kind of giving that little history note, and that quote always, of course, leads to a link where you can learn more about it. So Setma Clark is the person that we featured who opened citizenship schools along with her husband. And I find that so profound. Miss Setma Poinsett Clark, who the citizenship schools were built specifically to teach adults how to read so they would be able to pass the literacy test in order to vote. Y'all, our history is deep, honey, and it is beautiful. So if you would like to be a part of the bike game so you can get that snippet, you are more than welcome to. We love to have you join. Please join us at ericasavagepolitics.com. My lovely, beautiful friend who just made a comment that she's loving the lessons. She also had her daughters individually sign up to get the newsletter, which I appreciate you. Thank you so much, my sister Karan, who is responsible for these lovely kind of camera setups that everyone is seeing. She actually, I did a consultation with her, and she walked me through how to really up my appearances on camera. So, Karan, love you, sis. Thank you so very much. But please do. These are really important days and important times, and we definitely want to get you engaged in what we're doing here on the Savage Political Bite. So thank you for everybody for those warm comments I'm getting, either for folks that have my number or people that are DMing me. However it is that folks are reaching me, listen, thank you, love you, and always, always, always appreciate you so very, very, very much. And I just want to make sure. Erin, what's up? That's my girl. OG, what's up, Erin? Thank you so much for joining. Hey, Jenny. Jenny is my new friend. Good morning. So fantastic to see you. And I hope we'll be seeing more of you. Jenny just jumped the room here. So congratulations to you, Jenny, on those recent nuptials. And hello, Divine. Grand rising to you as well. Always, always fantastic to see you. My aunt, Dr. Gloria Watson, fantastic to see you. So thanks. Please continue to show Bite Gang love so I can definitely shout you out. And so going back to this really, really just of course, Jenny, of course, sis. Going back to the news cycle that we kind of in some ways find ourselves wed to in some form of another. Either it is because we definitely pay attention to the news because of our local community happenings, and it also very much so it ties into what we're seeing happening on a national level. So local, when I say local, I'm meaning local, meaning like within your particular city, borough, township. That's also connected to state as well. So local and then over to national. That those things matter, right? And why it matters so very much, and we're, again, talking about that wedded piece, is because we have people who definitely get a lot of inspiration and a lot of what we see that is really harming communities, all of us, that touches us in one form or another, particularly during this hotbed of COVID. Um, and when you have an executive leader, like the occupant of the White House at 1600 Black Lives Matter Plaza, that has now been actually deemed as a patient zero of sorts. Overnight, we've come to find out that there have been 13 more people that have tested positive for COVID-19 who were in attendance at that fundraiser on last Thursday, right? And one important note, last week, and one important note that I want to make, I do believe it was last Thursday, but to be very careful, I want to say last week. Good morning, Joyce. Always fantastic to see you. What's up, Dee Dee? Hey, Deidre. Always fantastic to see you, sis. I want to really mention that because when you consider all of these rallies, when you consider that on last Thursday, a couple of days after that disastrous debate performance, that one thing that always sticks out in my mind is that he used his bully pulpit to defame a sitting member of Congress, and that was Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, right? That was on Thursday, and then we get news that he, in fact, is positive for COVID on last week. The Mussolini uh, um, Soviet era, Stalin, um, Hitler, whatever type of strongman position, and I don't like that word, but strongman really is a cloak for weakness, and having to really take from others in order to build wealth. But that strong man kind of stance that we saw on the balcony of your house. Your house is 1600 Black Lives Matter Plaza, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That is the people's house. That stance that he took, maskless, right? And that now we're coming to find out that more and more people are testing positive that were in his presence, right? So we're continuing to find that out. But then also because of his addiction to tweeting, that there is still not going to be a stimulus bill that is going to come out of Congress, who is in recess until the 19th of October, or excuse me, by order of this person this White House occupant who is sitting and believed to be more ill than he is saying, which is definitely something that is very believable because much of what he is very much so theater and lies. So yeah, it was so gross. Yeah, he definitely is the virus. I absolutely agree with that, Karan. He is a virus, and he is the virus. That's why he's being dubbed as patient zero, so to speak, because of the different numbers, these different super spreader events that he and his team put together. That we're seeing more positive COVID cases come out of. Um, all of that to say that what the country is still in very much so dire need of is what we were in need of back in May, which was which is a stimulus bill that would help relieve those folks who are facing multiple crises, right? Not just the crisis of COVID, which is still a public health crisis with 212,070 people. I always kind of like to give that exact number because we're talking about in the year 2020, people who just did not pass away, but people who passed away needlessly because there still is no national testing strategy. There is still no strategy at all. There is still no contact tracing that is in place. There is still no mandate on mask wearing that's been very much so relegated to the states, those executive leaders, governors. Um, so there's still not that. So there are still very small things that could be done, like mask wearing, that could have saved it upwards of 100,000 lives. We're talking about 212,070 people who are no longer here, people who have been laid to rest. And what is more hurtful about that number to me than anything, outside of the fact that a significant portion of these deaths were preventable because we, the American public, did not know that COVID was entering into our airspace, right? We saw on the news, like back in late November, December of last year, that abroad there were hospitals that were being put up in like 10 days, just in warp speed, right? So to now come into knowledge of what that was for, and then also that we were told as the American public from an executive, um, and a so-called executive leader, but from the White House occupant, let me say it that way, that this was in fact a hoax, that the number of deaths at that time, which were about, they were less than 100, that those deaths were, um, there weren't that many people, that we were also hearing that it would magically disappear, that we were also hearing that when the summer months came, that the heat would kill the virus, all types of just lies, that it's not as serious as it was made to be, that there are at home remedies that people could be doing to actually kill the virus. All of these different things that were fed into the public square, nothing more than political propaganda, because what we then saw is that COVID was weaponized, right? Wearing a mask is for as it was reported that he said was for losers and for suckers, right? We've seen his supporters really denigrate people that were wearing masks, even as recently have continued to do that. But a competent, um, well knowledged, science based executive would have seen that this is, in fact, serious. And in order to get the crisis of COVID under control, in order to get the crisis of unemployment under control, the crisis of housing, rents and mortgage, and food insecurity, in order to get those in a place where they could be managed a lot better, that it would call for the American public doing things like wearing a mask, making sure that people are social distancing, making sure that people understand it is unwise to gather in large groups, and then also to wash your hands and wash our hands often. Four simple things, like literally very four simple things. When I think about it, these are things that children are trained in kindergarten, in first grade, not to put your hands on other people, not to touch your face, to wash your hands to remove germs, not to be very close to people, not necessarily wear a mask, but just kind of proper hygiene items that are reinforced during those very early ages. Those things that they're just that easy, but that those things were weaponized. Coronavirus has been weaponized, and conspiracy theories were allowed to really manifest and germinate in this particular with this particular regime, so to speak, all for his own political standing. How dangerous that is, how fatal that is when we have 212,070 people who have died, who, won't be back to join with their families, and then millions more grieving. That's family, those are friends that are grieving the lives of children, of young adults, and of adults that have passed away. One of the mayors in California, Mayor Garcetti, he lost both of his parents. He's a sitting mayor. He lost both of his parents to COVID. Um, and that this was preventable with good leadership, with competent leadership, with leadership that listened to science, that understood common sense, that did not use these different institutions and distort them to where there are people with good common sense like you and I that really don't have faith in the CDC. And faith in the CDC does not mean that, we're laying at the feet of the CDC, but understand the information that is coming out of an apolitical um, institution, that it is not being, the information that's being given to the American public is not from one or another party's leanings, that these are the facts. And so when we had back in 2000, late 2016, 2000, well, actually in 2017, when we had the then Press Secretary Sean Spicer lie about the crowd size, this is why those things are important. Those things build to where we are now, where it has literally eroded faith in institutions that are apolitical. And we're thinking about the Department of Health and Human Services has been weaponized. I mean, so many institutions that have been really that have been denigrated. The faith has really been denigrated. It's very much so thanks to the person who literally stole the seat that he is occupying. So all of that to say, as we talked about the multiple crises that are happening and affecting the people who are left to grieve, the 212,070 people, and then to think about those Americans that have passed away due to COVID, that the way with which people say goodbye, that has been shifted as well. People in nursing homes who are unable to connect with family members, and we know that human touch, we're not meant to be islands unto ourselves. that human touch and human engagement is so very important for each and every one of us. That's why people have pets as emotional support or as a way to kind of, if they live alone, have some type of kind of activity because we need that as human beings. But that people that were unable to attend the funerals of their loved ones, it is for me just um, it is it's that's that's um, that's really just disgusting. And the lowness where that sits at does not sit well at all. So those are things I'm hoping that we are kind of keeping at the top of our memory, particularly when we think about that this person is still using and weaponizing Twitter from his sick bed when he says on Twitter last night at 9:54, the House and Senate should immediately approve $25 billion for, drum roll, brrr, do you think that's for the American people? Psych. It is for airline payroll support, $135 billion for paycheck protection program for small business. Both of these will be paid fully with unused funds from the CARES Act. Have this money. I will sign now. Now, not that small businesses are not important. Many of you are small business owners. I have a consulting firm as well, in addition to the 12,000 other things that I do. Um, and then for those individuals that work for the airlines, we know that the airline industry will actually have to begin furloughing their support crew, like flight attendants and things of that nature. Listen, those are definitely regrettable. But if people are not flying, and that people are not flying as much because of COVID, right? That those protections should not be put ahead of those things that I named prior to, which are number one, support the stimulus relief for those people who are now either underemployed or unemployed. We've had folks like Senator Harris and other people, Senator Kamala Harris, that have said that, for, the next several months, we need to make sure that we're putting thousands of dollars into the hands of the American people so that what we're talking about around rents, that those are taken care of, that people have money in their pockets to pay their mortgage, that people do have money to go to the grocery store and buy the things that they want, because grocery stores largely have not been impacted because people need to go and buy things for them to eat, right? And take care of their family, that people don't need to be battling underemployment, need to be battling with dealing with having either multi-generational folks in their household, or all of the different whoever lives in your household, and then not have money as well, right? There needs to be some type of relief in a way for the economy to have some level of stimulus, and that would go with people getting this money. That's the whole impact of a stimulus. It is to jumpstart the economy, right? That those things would really bode well if the money were put into the American taxpayers that pay the salary of the occupant of the White House, the 472,000. I don't recall how much his salary is a year, but 472,000 a year for those people that are in Congress. We pay those salaries as well for those people to come to the table. It should have been done since May to make sure that there's a stimulus package for the American people to help mitigate some of these other crises that we're facing because of this public health crisis, right? But that is his tweet, and that was at 9:54 p.m. yesterday. Um, Also, he and I posted this yesterday and posted the link to the story that this was on yesterday, that he effectively killed any chance at a new coronavirus relief package ahead of the presidential election, saying that he won't agree to a deal until, and this is quote, after I win. So he is still um, practicing voter intimidation. He is still very much so practicing voter suppression. He is still raising the anxiety levels of millions and millions of Americans. He's still being a demagogue because I don't expect a demagogue to act any differently than what he's doing. Even a demagogue infected with coronavirus, he's still saying that, listen, I'm going to win this election, whether you all like it or not. He's already been stealing it. That is how he got into office in 2016 and is continuing to suppress the vote and call out his 1/3 of the fallen behind him to support him in those efforts as well by watching people, making sure that they are at the polls to make sure that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So even with those intimidation, even with the suppression antics, he's still at it, though he is infected with COVID-19. All of these things matter. And so take that with you to the polls. Um, Senator Kamala Harris said this, and I just wanted, because this is something, we've been saying these things on Savage Politics for quite some time and on the Savage Political Bite for almost a year now. The bite will turn 1 year old in November. How amazing is that? Um, excuse me. And so this particular live broadcast, and that's 3 days a week, and the newsletter will be 1 year old in November. But we've been saying this: have a voting plan, get your voting outfit together, and research your ballot. Become a poll worker and get engaged. Senator Kamala Harris tweeted this out yesterday that said, "People have asked me what they can do in the final days of this election, and here's what I say: make more phone calls." Send more texts. Reach out to more of your friends and neighbors. Tell them why this election matters to you. Every conversation helps. And we've been talking about this on the bite. It is my belief that there are no undecided voters, there are only unregistered voters. So I've been saying, listen, put 5 on it. Make sure you're talking to 5 people about checking to see if they're registered to vote. And if they're not, giving them the vote.org link, or having them go to their Secretary of State's website. But it's usually much easier to give folk a link that kind of has all. So if they can check their registration on vote.org, and then if they're not registered to vote, there is a path for them to do that through vote.org. To talk to people, to encourage people, particularly those folks in the 18 to 29 category, of whom many may not be registered to vote. The bottom line is this: get activated, get registered to vote, because many of us on this broadcast are definitely faithful voters, but we definitely want to bring in the rear for those folks who are not engaged and who perhaps don't have an understanding of the process. And as I've also said on this broadcast, in a lot of times it is not that people just are being stubborn and not voting. No one's ever had a conversation with them. And if it sounds kind of strange to say, oh, well, they just should just get on with it. I hear that. But at the same time, I have done that on the groundwork, and I have seen those people, the response of folks who understand, like when they are being talked to, when they are being conversed with, when they are being listened to, the posture shifts. It becomes, you see the resistance begin to melt away. It is a beautiful thing. And I have walked people over to their precinct. It is a fantastic feeling. It's a beautiful thing to see. And it's wonderful to see um, that you've pulled someone over the threshold of engaging in democracy. We're all about here on Savage Political Bite, Savage Politics. The formula, y'all, that formula is not changing. It is information plus engagement absolutely equals power. And that's what we need. Good morning, Mr. Wimberly. What's up to our brother Ron? Always fantastic to see you. Good morning, Melanie. Oh, it's so good to see you. I think this may be your first time joining. If so, welcome. And I hope you join us again on Friday for the bite, 7:30 a.m. And then Tanya, what's up, girl? It's been a minute. So good to see you. So all of that being said, just want to share this reminder, and that is that um, this was brought forward to me from one of the Bike Gang members who shared, say, let folks know this. And this is something I had not really thought about. But remember, when you go to vote, we've been talking about voting outfits. Um, Even your hat, your attire cannot expressly be supporting a political party or candidate. So no political paraphernalia. If whatever color you want to get dressed in, as long as there's no color that is banned, please make sure, please by all, and I'm being silly, but um, just don't nothing in what you're wearing should be reflecting any political organization or affiliation. When you look at the folks that are campaigning, they're still kind of trying to get people to name just kind of like the last name you saw. Oh, okay, well, I saw that name because those people were standing not far outside of my precinct. Those people have to be so many feet away from the actual precinct that are, you know, definitely supporting a particular campaign or a particular person running for office. So, having said all that, please, please, please make sure that you are mindful of that. And then Sloan said, my mom just became a poll worker last year and love it. That is so fantastic. Awesome. So yeah, please, if you've not done that work before, poll work, please consider becoming a poll worker for voting. And that was in the bite on not yesterday, but the day before yesterday. I do believe. So please, please, please make sure that you are engaging because listen, engagement is how we get it, y'all, right? And with that being said, we definitely have 26 days to go until November 3rd. People are already voting. So if you have not voted yet, if that's because you're not able to vote yet because of your particular municipality, because it differs, we hope you have your vote plan together, your voting outfit together, and that you got 5 on it, and that you will definitely become a poll worker or a poll watcher. And I know a poll watcher was in the last bite on yesterday. Consider volunteering to become a poll watcher. That really works to the degree. Einstein said, I signed up, but Lee County don't want these problems. Listen. Yeah, I don't know about my girl Einstein. You don't want those problems. I hear you. I'm glad you're going to be there, sis. But do please consider to follow the path of many of the Bike Gang members who are definitely politically engaged to become a poll worker or a poll watcher. And that really kind of works against what this occupant of the White House is calling on his mangy support crowd to do as well. All right? And I did say mangy, and I meant it. This is democracy at stake that we're talking about. There are no apologies. So listen, as always, thank you everybody for joining. I hope that this is, and I keep kind of looking off to the side because, of course, I am very much so wed to all things politics, reading, news, radio. Um, Monica, you. Good morning, Dr. Wilson. We love you. So good to see you, sis. So definitely tied to all of those different pieces. Anywho, glad that you all joined. If you found this information beneficial and helpful, I'm asking you to please share the broadcast. That is how we grow out this network. We engage people, let people know that we did not just pop on. Savage Politics has been in existence since 2017. And this iteration of Savage Politics has been in existence for over a year. I hope that I am a trusted voice for you. I do this media commentating. I've been working in politics for nearly 20 years. I love politics. I love, and I love actually breaking down the political minutia in a way that brings below the fold items to the top of the fold. And this work could not be more important than it is right now. So please share this. Jenny said, thank you. Enjoyed having my coffee with you this morning. Oh, and thank you. Appreciate all that you do. Um, Thank you so much, Jenny. We appreciate you and look forward to you because Jenny is now a part of the Bite Gang. So look forward to seeing more of you. Thank you so much. Hey, Momo, so good to see you. And Sharon, if you're still on, I think I saw where you had joined. Good morning to you, Sharon. Always fantastic to see you. Hey, Sherry Jones. What's going on, Daphne? Good to see you. And Sharon Washington, Greg Allen. Fantastic to see you. Good morning. Sharon has become a model. Well, I shouldn't say has become. She really has done. This is another kind of space that we are being exposed to, and so proud of you, girl. You are killing it. I love the leather pieces that you had on the other day. She's like an ambassador now. So yeah, she's a professor. She's a model. And just an all-time global connector. Moet said, good morning. I have to catch the replay. Please do that, sis. Always good to see you. So again, if you find this helpful, please do share out this broadcast. Would definitely appreciate that. And thank you for the love because, again, we definitely want to grow out our community to make sure that we are impacting as many people as we can to drive them to check their registration. And then if they're not registered and they're still able to register in their state, for them to actually register to vote. There were a number of states whose deadlines were on Monday, and actually listed those out and provided posts around all social medias around that. So if not in one of those states where the deadline was yesterday to register, please, in fact, check registration. Register if not registered. Get that sample ballot, research that ballot so you'll be confident in knowing who and what you're voting for. If you're voting absentee, that way, or if you are voting in person that way as well. But please vote early, and if you can, vote in person, and make sure you have all of your lovely PPE when you do. All right, Bait Gang, listen, y'all already know how we end this broadcast, so always make sure that you are speaking well over yourself. So make sure the first voice that you are hearing in the morning is yours, and that voice is commanding your day. It is empowering you, because right now is right now. This evening and later on today is the future. So do make sure that you are absolutely speaking well, giving yourself good positive energy. Please do that. And then spending some really, really good quality time with yourself in the morning, showering yourself with love, with empowerment, because once those feet hit the floor, the day has begun. And then also make sure that you are doing your breath work, Bite Gang. So, ooh, those 10 deep breaths in the morning, it feels so good to do even just one, but 10 deep breaths in the morning. And then 10 deep breaths before you retire for the evening. And don't forget to do the all important dance break during the day. All right, good people. I love you. Have a fantastic day. Share the broadcast. And I'll see you again here on Friday for the number one morning political primer in the nation. That is the Savage Political Bite. Love you so much and have a fantastic day, everyone. Bye-bye.